Good morning, team. What's going on? Good morning, good morning. So I'm actually in a long. I'll tell you guys why here in a bit. But let's say good morning. Stockfather, Eva, Charlie. Charlie got a star. What's up? Mohammed, G-Man, Lenka, FM, Dustin Living. Good morning, you guys. Yeah, Lenka, a little bit of a late start getting the kids out of bed this morning. Not out of bed, just out the door. They have a music program later this afternoon, and they were supposed to wear jeans and whatever, plain colored shirt, whatever color they wanted. But the jeans was quite the battle with my 7-year-old boy. He's not a fan of jeans, so had a little fight with him this morning to make him wear jeans, and we were late to school. So that was my morning. All right, so I am long because looking, just kind of following my game plan that I laid out last night. My thought was if we held this point of control level at like 25, 30-ish, I would be looking for longs. And you can see overnight, that's been the bottom. Like that was the Asia low, that was the London low. We've been holding. And then we had this high volume node, this gray shaded area right here. So just in general, that has been support. So when we came down to the bottom of that level, it was a little bit kind of against the grain because we were below VWAP. But I have this red anchored VWAP that's anchored from the swing low from, when was that, Tuesday? And it held above that, and it held above this high volume node. So that was why I took the long. It was good risk to reward if it does, in fact, continue up to where I think it's headed. So that's why I'm in a long. Good morning, Hector, Alex. That's why they call it a school run. Because you're rushing out the door the whole morning, making breakfast, all that fun stuff. It's a run. Yep, that's a good way to call it. So 118 is where I'm going to scale out. I do have my stop loss set at break even just in case the market opens like super heavy and I don't lose any money. But zooming out to the 1 hour, let me take the VWAP off so there's not so many lines. But this level right here where my cursor is, the top of the high volume node, you can see there's some resistance, some support. That's a good spot I would like to scale out at about 120. So that's my first target. But I feel like it could come, I mean, looking at the hourly again, 160 is a good target. And then possibly even value area high from yesterday's session at 182. So 120, 160, 180 are kind of my long-term targets if this thing remains bullish. This light blue line right here, that's anchored from yesterday's New York session, and that has kind of been resistance all night. So we'll see if we can actually break above that. So far, though, this game plan's playing out. Let's see if it actually gets up to that 180 level that I was talking about. Market's open in 3 minutes. I saw G-Man said he was in a long. Has anyone else taken any positions this morning or last night? Nope, not yet. Take no marvel. Honestly, I don't know the fee per trade for broker. I know Lucid and TradeDay are less than Tradeify's. Tradeify's a little higher, but I use prop firms. I don't trade with like individual brokers and trade my own money, so I'm not a good person to ask that. Yeah, waffles, that counts. That blue line is that anchored VWAP from yesterday's New York Open that I was telling you about. Hopefully it breaks above there. I'm debating if I should close out a little bit of it. Yeah, I'll take off 3 just so I don't lose all of it and then put the rest at break even. I'm okay with that. Market's open in about 1 minute. You guys, in my trade day contest that I'm doing, I made like $230 yesterday, which is not great for a 150K account. And I moved up from 10th place to 8th place. I don't know how that happened. We got a little drop and then a move up and then a move down and then a move up. What is this thing doing? Shorting Starbucks is a good move. I honestly don't pay attention to individual stocks. What's going on with Starbucks? Are they just dying and everyone's supporting their local coffee shop these days? I'm down with that. Starbucks coffee isn't even that good. Go ahead, commenters. Hate me in the chat for that. I'll say it. Starbucks is not that good. All right, let's see if it keeps moving up. First target is in that 120 area. Going long on Chipotle. I used to be a big fan of Chipotle. I know this has nothing to do with your stocks. But Chipotle is no good these days. Their meat serving is so small. You get like 3 ounces of chicken. I'm like, seriously? Can I get like 3 scoops of that? Support Waffles investing and go to your local coffee shop. Good morning, Yartex. How is it going? All right, so 180, like I said, 183 is yesterday's value area high. So I'll leave a runner to there. 160 was the next area of interest that I was watching. Homemade coffee's the best. Yep. I have a, oh my gosh, what's the name of my machine? Nespresso. I had a blank. I have an espresso machine. That was probably my favorite gift ever. I love it. I haven't gotten super fancy with coffees lately. Like I used to make lattes and froth up my milk and all that. I've gotten lazy with it. But even just a brewed cup of coffee still has that like frothy foam to it. So good. A 1,000 push-ups to 7 figures. I like it. I like your name. Working out and trading. Sounds a lot like my life, plus 3 kids. So add to the craziness. Working out, trading, and dealing with 3 crazy kids. All right, let's find some support levels so I know where to put my stop loss. I'm going to trail it more like 25.95. I don't want to lose too much of it, but I want to give it a little bit of room for the open volatility to still happen. So I think it could move up still. Hello, Marcus. Hey, Kevin, good morning. New to the channel, welcome. Are you new to trading in general? Like, are you just learning or are you a trader? What's your background? Four years in. Awesome. Longer than me. I just hit my 1 year mark. I started in September of 2024. So I would still say I'm a rookie trader. Following crypto lately, yeah. I do some like swing trading with crypto. All right, let's start marking off our opening range levels. That way, if I do get stopped out, we have some other entry ideas. So far, this is our opening range low. Man, this thing is bullish. New York anchored VWAP right here. I'll delete the other one so it doesn't get confusing. And so far, this is our 15-minute opening range high, but hopefully that keeps moving up. A video of me swing trading. It's not very exciting. I don't really have a video like worthy information. Really, I just zoom out to the higher time frame, like the daily or the 4-hour chart, and mark off levels of support using volume profile, similar to what I do with futures. And then also just, eyeballing areas of interest. And I set alerts there. So it might have an alert set on it for weeks. And then if an alert goes off, I go take a look at the chart and see if I want to enter. Pretty simple. Marcus, am I increasing my position on a pullback? I don't know. Good question. I actually hadn't thought of that just because I got in so early. I could, though. I think I'd rather just trail my stop loss, though, and ride it all the way up to that 180 target. I don't want to let it go back too far. I think what I'll probably end up doing is just trailing my stop loss, and then if it does get a pullback, like back to the opening range low or something that I would be interested in longing, I would just re-enter. A pullback to, although I wouldn't love it, but a pullback to opening range low would actually be a bounce off of VWAP, so that wouldn't be a bad long opportunity if that happens. So if any of you guys are not in a trade, that would be an area to watch out for. If I wasn't already in a trade and I was waiting for a pullback, that's what I'd be watching for. Because VWAP and opening range low are in that same spot. Still moving up. I guess I can keep moving my opening range low line or opening range high line. You guys, if you've been following me long enough, I promise I know the difference between high and low. I do that like every day. Like initial balance low, initial balance high. Goodness. ES and NQ are different. Yeah, I saw Yartek saying ES is going down, and then all of a sudden NQ just pumped. So, interesting. It got up to 152, starting to pull back a little bit. All right, Marcus. Nice. Gotta love when you have those kind of days where you're in and out in 5 minutes. Have a good one. Charlie, do you set your trailing stop loss at a certain level or percentage or just wing it? Good question. So that's something that I would say I have not perfected. I know there's a lot of traders that will trail by 20 points no matter what, or trail at the close of every 5-minute candle or whatever. I trail based more on levels. So right now I'm going to move it up to 25,111 just because that's the recent low. It's below VWAP. If it starts to break below there, I could see it coming back down to the range low. So to answer your question, I trail mostly based on structure. And then let's say I've trailed out most of my position and I'm kind of just going for that last home run contract, then I'll start to trail closer and maybe trail on every 5-minute candle closure or something like that. just to be able to lock in as much as possible. But in the beginning, like right now, when I wanted to give the trade a little bit of room to have a pullback and allow for some of that volatility without getting stopped out, I try to give it as much room as possible. At least in a trade that I'm really confident in. Like, I felt pretty good about this one. If there's ever one that I maybe entered late, or I'm going against the trend, like I'm trying to short an uptrend or something like that, I'll move my stop loss to break even as soon as possible. So I guess my answer falls more in the just wing it category, Charlie. Which is probably not a great answer. There's a lot of people who have their like specific rules. This is how I trail my stop loss. I guess I'm not like that. All right, looks like it might be coming back down. Let's see if it does come back to opening range low. Thanks, G-Man. I took some of the profits off. Looks like it's going to come hit my trailing stop loss, though. Should have trailed out a little more in my position, probably. Or not trailed out. Sold more of it. That's all right. Can't be mad about it. Oh my gosh. Or it's going to bounce from here. Destined Living, I started the position with 15 and now I have 7. So I've taken off 8 along the way. All right, I am going to add to my position and then trail on that wick. So in 10 now. Opening range high, it looks like it's sitting right here. So my next target is right outside of there. I'm actually going to move it a little bit lower. Yartex, right click on your screen. There's a couple different ways. You can also go over to the DOM, but I don't use that. So just right click and then limit buy, or if you're in a short, it would be limit sell, and then however many contracts you want to do. You're welcome. Came down and bounced right at that level. Man, I love it when price action is clean like that. Look at that level that I already had there. All right, value area high is at 183, and then my next high volume node is at like 25, 195. Let's see what happens when it gets up there. So it ate up that order of selling 4 more, and then a runner to 183. Gosh. I'll take off half of value area high, 183, if it continues. I did, G-Man. On this, once it started to hold that level and hold view up and bounce, I added. So I was at 7, I added 3 more. So I had 10 and then took off 4 there. So I have 6 left. Yeah, man, I love adding. It's fun. If done properly. It only works in a trending market. When it's in a choppy, rangy market, it can screw you over. $101 people watching. Let's hit that like button, guys. Where are you guys at? Where's your support? It's a free way to support the channel. Help spread the word. I appreciate it. If any of you guys are on X, you can find me. Gosh, I am not on X that often. I've just been getting a lot of action lately because of this TradeDay competition. They keep tagging me and I'm getting all kinds of notifications. I'm like, I feel like the old person that's like, why do you keep tagging me? What's going on? I don't know how to use this thing. But if you guys want to follow along, Krista F 2023. That's where you can find me on X. Apparently I'm in 8th place right now. Against a whole bunch of other traders that have done this a lot longer than I have. So trying to have fun with it. Good morning, Shez. How's it going? All right, starting to get a little pullback. I'm on the 1-minute chart though. I don't like that. Pulling back at this level that I had marked off. Let's see, are we going to get a continuation down? It's a decent spot for it to pull back. Weren't you sick last week too, Shez? Is this a new round of sickness? Like you got it again? Or is it still the same one as last time? Sometimes I feel like with kids, it's hard because it just like filters through your family. And you can sometimes get it twice or just feel crappy for a while. Six since school started. Good times. All those little germs. Your immune system's got to get used to it. Well, like I said, it's rejecting that high volume node. This is a good spot for a pullback. I don't want to short this. Because buyers are definitely eating it back up. There's lots of wicks, but it might hit my stop loss. Yeah, Brandon, that's tough. I thankfully have a pretty strong immune system, knock on wood. But I think being a sick mom, that sucks. Like, if I'm healthy, I can take care of the kids. That's hard enough. But if I'm feeling bad, and if they're sick, goodness. Keeps playing around with that 15-minute opening range high. It's like it's trying to pull back, but buyers are strong. I hope no one's trying to short this thing right now. You like how I was in the market before open? Yeah, it doesn't always work out that way. It was just at a clean level that I had marked off, so it made sense. Thankfully, it had moved up enough before the market opened that I was able to put my stop loss at break even. That's the only thing that makes me nervous, is if I have to weather the storm, like deal with the market volatility and have a really wide stop loss entering before the market opens, that can be scary. But if I can put my stop loss at break even and still have room for it to move, then I'm just sitting stress free. That's always a nice situation to be in. Still inching its way up. I'm going to trail a little bit more because if it does break back below that 15-minute opening range high, that's not a good sign for continuation, at least at this point. Hey, C. Laporte, good morning. Yeah, so I actually got into this position before the market opened. I guess I could trail this over. This is more accurate. I have a runner going up to this area. So I entered at about 7:40 Central, so 8:40 Eastern. And if you zoom out a little bit, I had this high volume node, this gray shaded area marked off from previous days. And my game plan was if we held above the point of control, then I would be looking for longs. And you can see the overnight price action, that area was holding as support. So once we got to the bottom of that high volume node, the risk to reward was too good to pass up. So I entered there, and my stop loss was originally below that wick. That's where I entered long. And then I've been scaling out along the way. Thanks, Shez. This one kind of worked out. All right, this next target is at value area high from yesterday, so we could get a pullback from there. And then final targets up at 25,200-ish, a little bit before. This thing could keep going up, though. So if you guys are a fair value gap trader, I mean, it could come up to like 25,207. The hourly chart, though, I like this 195, 200 level. You can see lots of resistance there. So I like that as a final target to get out, even if it does continue going up. Still going. If you get a Lucid account, will you still be able to use TradingView and the volume nodes indicator as well as the adjustable VWAP? There's a couple different ways you can do it. So if you want to use actual TradingView, do you have a paid account with them? I believe the paid account is the only one that'll let you do the visible range volume profile. Mad Moxie, so I know if you do TradeDay, you can connect it to TradingView and it'll give you the live price, live data. But I don't think it gives you the paid versions of the indicators. And the visible range volume profile is on the paid version. There are other people who have like their own version of the visible range volume profile, and you can get those on the free version, but they're not as good in my opinion. So see, Laporte, there's a couple ways you can do it. If you want to trade on Project X, which is this one, it has the TradingView platform integrated into it. So you can do all the visible range volume profile and VWAP and everything on here. Or you can do TradeDay and connect that to TradingView. You just won't get all the paid indicators. So those are the two ways you can do it. Or I would say pay for TradingView if you're really wanting to chart in TradingView. A lot of times they have Black Friday specials, so wait like a month and they'll have specials where like if you sign up for a whole year, it's 50% off or something like that. So a couple different routes you can take. I hope that answers your question. All right, I'm going to go ahead and lock out this account. And then I have another one I can trade if we get another setup. Thanks for dropping by. 1,000 push-ups. You hesitated to pay for TradingView? Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an investment. You can definitely go down a rabbit hole with trading. It's hard, right? Like, it takes years for people to be profitable with trading. But then you're supposed to pay for all these monthly subscriptions. Like I'm supposed to get TradingView and then Bookmap and then Edgeful. And now I have to buy prop firm accounts. And like you can end up spending a lot of money on trading. I think a lot of it is not necessary. But I do think TradingView is a good investment because that's where you spend all your time on the charts. It'll allow you to back test. It'll allow you to get all the indicators that you want. I mean, not that I think you need millions of indicators, but yeah, I think it's a good investment. Ganesh, yes, I am in a sim account with TradeDay. This other one that I was trading just now, the one that I took that trade in, that was a 150K account contest that I'm doing just for funsies. Well, there's no stopping this thing, you guys. Coming up towards that fair value gap, someone was asking about how to spot them. So, Lenka, you can get indicators for fair value gaps, but basically it's a gap between the previous candle and the next candle. So, like looking at this 1 hour candle right here, the one before, the wick is right here. Hopefully you can see that. There's the bottom of that wick all the way to the top of that wick on the next candle. So that right there is the fair value gap. So the bottom of this candle and the top of that candle makes the fair value gap on that candle. Hopefully I explained that well enough. I don't really trade fair value gaps. I guess my eyes just kind of see them, but I'm not gonna like take a short because of a fair value gap. Waffles is giving you guys the sauce right there. If you hit the like button, then you're able to find good trades. She entered a long because she hit the like button on my stream and she made lots of money because of it. It's true. Yeah, it's on any time frame. The people who trade fair value gaps, though, I think look at it on the higher time frame. So like the 1 hour, the 15-minute. Really, if you're looking at fair value gaps on like a 1 minute or a 5 minute even, you're going to end up getting chopped around for sure. Goodness. I was hoping we would get some sort of pullback, you guys. Guess I should have left more in my trade. No, I can't complain. I scaled out, so my whole position wasn't this, but I ended up getting 129 points out of that trade, so I won't be mad. So, if it comes back down, with how bullish this is, I don't know if this is actually going to happen, but this right here, that would be a nice little spot for a pullback. High volume node, so decent support there. 15-minute opening range high and New York anchored VWAP. Lots of stuff going on at that level. I could see that being a good long entry if we get it. Like 25, 153-ish. Destin Living, you got trailed out. Not too sure if it's too late to buy now. What do I think? I wouldn't enter a long right now. I personally wouldn't. I could be wrong. This thing could just slow grind up to all-time highs the rest of the day. So don't be mad at me if I don't tell you to enter and then that's what happens. Make your own choice. But I personally would not enter a long right here. I would wait for a pullback. Oh, man. Is this going to be one of those days where it's like really good FOMO practice? You just have to watch that continuous slow grind up with no chance for entering. We do have the initial balance being set in about 20 minutes. So we'll see if we can take any trades off of that if a pullback doesn't happen before then. Okay, so it might stop at 25,242. Maybe. Are we going to get a new all-time high today? Is that what's going to happen? Look at that recovery, you guys. Big old drop on Tuesday. Nothing but up since then. We had that little bit of chop overnight, but it's been holding, going strong. If this doesn't stop at like 25,243-ish, I mean, that's pulling straws for any sort of resistance because obviously there's not much resistance up here. We could hit another all-time high today. My goodness. Oh, man. I know some of you were in a long from the open. Is anyone still holding their long from the open? Good call, Waffles. It's because you flipped a coin and spun around 5 times, right? And you're just like, whoa, I'm going to choose long. You got lucky. It was all luck. Yeah, Yartex last night was pretty rangy. Unless you had a super wide stop loss, I could see where it would be easy to get stopped out. Kind of was just stuck in this range. I mean, at least on NQ, I assume that ES was roughly the same. Well, I'll hang out until the initial balance is set in like 18 minutes. If this thing is just going to continue a slow grind up, I might not be able to get any more entries. This red dot at this point is kind of what I'd be waiting for. Although now that we've broken past this support area at 25,200, possibly enter along on a pullback to there. All right, see Laporte. Have a great day. I wish I could give you guys another setup that I'm watching for. Not giving us much opportunity right now. It's starting to lose some steam. I'm not saying I'm entering a short or anything, but this area up here, 25,240-ish, might be where we pull back some. All right, come on down to this level, 25,160-ish. $155, somewhere in there. It's only our second red candle out of the entire New York Open so far. We had one there and one there. Crazy. Let's see how this next 5-minute candle closes. If we're red, we might be pulling back a little more. Charlie, as far as live streams, it's only in the morning at the New York Open. Me personally, I'll check out trades at other times. Like this one, I was watching it pre-market. Sometimes on like Sunday night, I'll trade the Asia session. And then I'll trade in the afternoon, like power hour, if there's a lot of volatility. Only if I'm not like at my personal profit target on my accounts in the morning. So kind of sporadic trading here and there, honestly. More dedicated at my computer, sitting at my desk at the New York Open though. What do you guys think? Are we ever going to get a pullback on this thing, or is it just going to be a slow grind up the rest of the day and then maybe just chop around at all-time highs? What you thinking? Good job, Poker Channel. Congrats. Yeah, Yartex is losing steam and up towards that high volume node that I was mentioning. I don't see this thing just dumping. I mean, obviously still bullish until proven otherwise. So looking for a pullback to enter long would be the way to go. I don't want to try to find the top and short the top. Because this thing, I mean, even if you take a short here and put your stop loss above the wick at 230, I think it could still come up closer to like 240. So if I personally was going to take a short here, I would have to put my stop loss above there. And then I would target this area. So the risk to reward on that is not great. Barely above a 1-to-1. And it's against the trend, which obviously adds more risk. Well, I hope you guys are right. I'm hoping for a pullback too. Come on down to my little red dot. I'm ready for you. I'm ready. There you go, Dustin Living. That's the smart play rather than just entering long. And if I remember right, when you were asking like about it hitting your trailing stop loss and should you just enter, it was somewhere around where we're pulling back to right now. Because I think it was pretty close to when I was taking full profit. So it was at like 25,200-ish. Imagine if you had entered long and then it started to slow down up here. I don't know about you, but I would have been sitting a little anxious. Like, oh no, it's gonna go red on me. All right. So top of my high volume node is 25,161. That's also right where VWAP is. Opening range high is at 155. So 155 to 162-ish if it bounces there, that could be a good entry to go long. Ah, thanks, Shez. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. Kind of exciting. Yeah, poker channel, adding to a position is kind of an art. I'm not always right, but my goal is to only do it on a trending day. If it's a ranging day, you can definitely screw up your average position entry, and it's not a good situation. But so like for me, for example, I had my original entry down here on this long that I took at market open, and I trailed some off in this area at like 25,150. This red candle right here, it pulled back to VWAP and my high volume node, and it bounced from there. So at that point, I moved my stop loss to below this wick at 25,112. So I was already in profit, and I added to my position. That way, if I'm wrong, I'm still not losing money. So that's the only time I'll do it. My goal is to risk no more than $200 per trade. Like, that's my risk limit. Whatever that number is for you, just change the math on it. But if I add to my position, for me, my rule is that I need to be able to move my stop loss to keep my risk no more than $200. And ideally for me, keeping it at break even or in profit. So that's the only time I'll add. I hope that answers your question. You don't want to just add on a big aggressive move. Like, it wouldn't have made sense to add on this candle up right there, because then it would have just messed up my average entry, and then I wouldn't have really had a good spot to trail my stop loss too. So try to enter on a pullback. All right, well, it's getting a bounce at this 25,182 level. That's not where I wanted it to bounce. I wanted it to come a little bit lower. I did mention this kind of being support, but I don't like that level. Come lower. All right, we have 5 minutes until the initial balance is set, but for now, this is our initial balance high. Yep, that's a pretty good summary, I would say, Poker Channel. Only add if the math makes sense, if the risk is still good. So for those of you guys who follow me, know I do like failed auction trades. So this is a decent opportunity for a failed auction, because like I said, the top of this high volume node is decent resistance at 25,240-ish. So if we bounce up outside of the initial balance and reject that and start to sell off and close back within the range, that could be a good opportunity for a short. Let's see. So if it happens to come up to this 25, 240-ish level and sellers show up, I would probably take a short there. It would be good risk to reward at that point because it would look something like this. I wouldn't have to give my stop loss that much room and target maybe back to this 150 level, possibly. I like those odds. Let's see if it gets back up there. I chickened out on taking a long here, you guys. I mentioned this level as an area of support, but I was like, no, I want it to come back lower. I don't know if I was just being too greedy, asking for a bigger pullback, or if I chickened out. Still making this slow grind up. Yeah, Yartex, I saw that. It's definitely a good idea to be done trading by that time. Shez, are you still in the chat? Do you have limit orders set? I feel like that is your play, to like set limit orders at an opening range high or an initial balance high. I'm wondering if you did that. I'm thinking about it. Yeah, it's kind of chopping around at this level, which could mean it's showing weakness. So if it comes up here, weakness could show up, or it could just be consolidation for a blast to all-time highs. You never know, right? I guess that's the risk we take with trading, right? Well, that big move at the open might have been the excitement that we're going to get for the day. I wonder if the market's just slowing down, waiting for FOMC meeting minutes. The slow, painful grind. Yeah, price action is definitely cleaner today. Yesterday, I definitely messed up. Didn't have a good read on price. I think yesterday threw me off just because it was so choppy for like the first hour. I mean, hour and a half. It was a long time. And then the move came. Usually it's the opposite, you know? Like there's a big move at the open and then it chops around middle of the day. So that threw me off. So really it was lack of patience, kind of just trying to find a trade that wasn't there. It was my own fault. Well, dang, is this ever going to get back up to initial balance high? If it ends up going down first, then this area of interest down here would still be where I'd be looking to enter along. So that's the short idea. Long idea would be somewhere around here. Something like that. So those are kind of the two areas I'm watching for. That red dot or that red dot. Yeah, honestly, Poker Channel, I think that's my mindset about life in general. Just, you know, extreme ownership, if you've ever read that book. Like everything that goes wrong in life, I always look at like, what could I have done? What could I have improved? So if we have that mindset with trading where we're like, the market's out to get us, it was the market makers, or it was the news, or it was because of Trump, it was something else's fault. If that's always what you look towards, then sorry, but you're going to suck at trading. You probably should not trade. Because most of the time when you take a loss, it's your fault. Don't blame it on anything else. And that's true in life. Most of the time, if something bad happens, most of the time, this is totally a generalization. I know there's a lot of things in life that we can't control. It's out of our control. But there's almost always something that we can do better. Don't blame anything else. Take a look at what you can change. If you haven't read that book, by the way, Extreme Ownership, I didn't even know that was a thing until that book came out. I didn't know there was like a name for it. But yeah, that's like my life motto. I even teach that to my kids. Like if they come to me tattletaling about like how my sister hit me. Okay, well, what did you do to her? Like, take a look at what you did. How are you at fault in this? Don't come tattletaling to me. You probably did something to her to get hit. You probably deserved it. I mean, obviously the daughter would get in trouble too, but that's usually my coaching to my kids. It's like, well, what did you do wrong? All right, making its way back up towards initial balance high. Which scenario are we going to get, if anything? Is it going to get out of this chop? Female role model on the tubes? Well, thanks. Try to keep it real. Try to be transparent with you guys. Biggest thing I try to be transparent and honest about is I'm a newbie trader. I'm going to make lots of mistakes. Just sharing the journey with you, sharing what works for me. And most of my wise words and my like feedback to you guys is going to be something that I would tell my 10-year-old. So hopefully you don't mind mom advice, I guess. Mom advice turned into life advice. Yeah, Waffles, I'm kind of wondering if that's the case. We're stuck in this range. I don't want to take a long or a short here. This is ugly. I'd like to see it come up to initial balance high and would only take a short if it started to reject. If this is going to be a slow grind up, then I'm not. And then if it kind of maybe slow grinds down to this area, I would look at a long. If for some reason like selling volume just gets super big and it looks like we're going to dump, I wouldn't be super excited about longing here. So either one of these scenarios, if you guys are going to trade it, watch volume and don't just like blindly enter a long down here or a short up here. Watching, for me at least, I watch and see how it reacts at those levels. TT, so earlier I was actually pointing out this level around 25,200 and then also this level. And I was like, it could pull back to either of these. And obviously it bounced at the value area high from yesterday. I think for me, it was just a huge run up. I was looking for a little more of a pullback. That was kind of a weak pullback. And in hindsight, I'm glad I didn't enter along there because there was no continuation. But that's the only reason. Just hoping for a bigger pullback. Yeah, we do have FOMC later, so this might be... We might have gotten our move for the day, you guys. Might be done. Yep, Stocks Fox, that's what I'm saying too. Well, I think what I'm going to do, you guys, I'm going to throw the link in the board. If you're not in there already, go hop in. And these are the two scenarios that I'll be watching for. I'm going to set an alert here at like 25,162. And then I'll set an alert up here at initial balance high. That way I know to come back to my computer if either one of these levels hits, and I can kind of watch for if it comes down here and we get some buying volume, I would consider a long. If we get up here and we get some selling volume, I would consider a short. So that's what I'm going to be watching for, you guys, but I don't want to sit here and watch paint dry. Gonna go do something more fun. Thanks for joining me today, you guys. It was a fun one. I will see you tomorrow at the New York Open. Have a great day. Bye, guys.